All right. Today, couldn't think of a better guest to have when we're discussing interest rates, real estate issues, all that good stuff. There he is. What's up, bro?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you great. You hear me?
Yeah, it was giving me telling me I was having an audio problem. So
Yeah. No, you're good. Okay.
perfect.
Uh, got your notes, and you're gonna like the title because I kind of played off what I sent you. So sort of fits into our sports thing. I call it "Don't Hire the Junior Varsity."
Oh, that's funny. And we can talk about other things too. Whatever, if you have other things you want to chit chat about, that's totally fine as well. So I just was
Like,
throwing out some topics.
no. What I was, what I sent to you was, spot on. It's like, okay, the whole market's a complete. Okay, so give us some good education, some good advice here, because again, the junior varsities out there, they're probably scrambling and trying to cut everybody's throats and, not taking care of people because they're just, people get threatened. Right. And so when in a tougher marketplace, you need the pros to step up.
Yep, it's a skill-based market now.
I'm going to write that down. I like that a lot. Skill-based market. Love it. All right, let's rock this bad mofo. Let me
Perfect.
get your level. Let me get my level going. Check. Okay, give me a check, bro.
Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2.
We'll talk about Spartan football off air, off recording. We won't even. I mean, we could talk about the overall your experience with the guys if you want. We talked about that last time, but yeah. Anyways, we'll talk.
I'm excited.
Here
I'm
we
ready for
go.
the season.
Yeah. Well, we're coming back tomorrow because Friday night, baby, we're gonna be there. So
Nice.
and then the 9th we have Roy and Luana's tickets for the level 4. So that's a sweet place to watch a game. I
Hang
tell
on
you.
1 second before we record.
I'm going to be recording a radio program for the next hour. So, yeah. Yep. And actually, you'll have to step out too, bud. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was thinking one of these days you need to get yourself your Keller Williams banner for behind you because that's just a great marketing. Instead of looking at your window, we could have a virtual background, and it's very easy to do that.
Um,
Like with
I think I
mine,
have. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can.
it's just a little more branding, a little more savoir faire. I don't even know where savoir faire came from.
I used to have a background.
It's in if you go down to your I know where it is because I change mine all the time. You go down to security,
I had. I think maybe that was on my old computer. I had a. Oh, I changed something. That doesn't look good. Made me orange. There we go.
You see
Um,
your little.
Must have been my old computer.
Okay.
So.
That's okay. So we got the Northern Lights. That actually looked pretty good. I mean,
Oh,
if you want to go with the Northern Lights,
sure.
do you have a picture of your that banner that you sent me? It's on our.
Yeah, I used to have one. And I must have been on an old computer.
I'll ask you, do you have pictures of your marketing stuff on that computer?
Well, that's what I'm looking for right now. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Video is becoming more and more relevant for us. YouTube has been helping us. So, once you get to a certain point with those guys, they start to treat you nicer, help you. Of course, they're helping themselves. So do do do
Hmm.
do do do. Do, do. As we sit and it's recording, Brock's looking for a background. We want to make the experience for our viewers that much better.
No, that doesn't look good. Never mind.
Okay, that's all right.
I'll
We'll
have
just
one ready for next time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just another marketing thing. Do you want to throw that Northern Lights behind you?
Sure.
There you go.
All right. There we go.
It looks good. All right, here we go. Cool. Minimize that. All right, here we go. Last week, Anna Thomas, she's a rookie. She's a sophomore at Michigan State University, and she brought the lumber. So if you're looking for an episode for the Journey into Higher Ed, everybody, that's the one that, I mean, Alyssa Guadani's are great. All of our students are great, but Anna Thomas, being a kid from Houston, really brought a different perspective. So please check that one out. Anna Thomas, Journey into Higher Ed. It's a Michigan State story. And she was fantastic. All right. Today, my man, Brock, one of our key sponsors for the show, comes in quarterly, if not more so. I can't think of a better time to have this guy come in right now and talk about real estate and what in the heck's going on with real estate than my man Brock for his 17th visit.
Wow.
I want to welcome back. Yeah, wow is right. I want to welcome my friend, my brother from another mother. Let's talk real estate. Let's talk. I'm calling this one, and no offense to any of the other companies that are out there, but seriously, guys, don't hire the JV. Okay. You just don't want to hire the JV. If you hire the JV and you have problems, I told you so. Okay. Let's just leave it there. Welcome back to my radio program, his radio program, our radio program podcast. Brock, Fletcher, the legend. How you doing, Brock?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Football season around the corner as we record this. We'll talk possibly a little bit about that, but you know the drill here. Just go ahead, talk about the fam, talk about what's going on with the kids. Go ahead, you know, everything, man. Just go ahead, just get everybody caught in your personal life.
Everything's going well. It's been super busy. Katie and I closed on our new home yesterday. We bought a new house. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Pretty excited about that. So we're not so we're still in Grand Ledge. We're just like 0.4 of a mile. We basically just moved to something a little newer, ranch style home built in 2013. So pretty stoked about that. We just moved Jenna to her new apartment out on the campus or near the campus of Michigan State. And she's starting her senior year at Michigan State. So that's wonderful. So yeah,
crazy.
It's been really, really busy. So, but a lot of fun. And Jenna just turned 21. So that's also cool.
Yeah, those were good pictures that I saw with you guys. She looks really happy and you guys look great. Katie's doing okay?
Yeah, everything's going very well.
That's good. That's
a lot of excitement, a lot of work going on.
Well, okay, so let me ask you real quick here. When you make a move like that, even if it's only a mile away from your home, how did you handle the actual physical logistics of moving? I mean, did you hire someone? Do you just do it all yourself? What do you guys do when you do something like that?
Yeah, we are hiring a mover. We'll move on September 11th. Is the actual move day, but yeah, it's man, it was a cathartic experience to put myself back in the shoes of a client. And when we moved from an apartment to the home we're in now 13 years ago, and it was so easy at that time. But when you're moving from a home you own and you're trying to make it perfect so you can sell it, boy, oh boy, that ratchets up the stress level a great deal. I have so much gratitude to my clients now. Spent 13 years in this home, and that's been a lot of work.
Brings back memories of when you and I first met. We've talked about we talked about this 1,000 times. We won't go back down that rabbit hole, but yeah, moving when you have that long at a residence, you're going to have, and you really, it's a smart move getting somebody professional. I mean, it's just at this point, on a physical aspect, everybody, moving bulky furniture and things that you're not used to doing on the physical side of things, as a trainer's perspective, I get nervous about, I don't do it myself at all anymore. Never. And it's like the last several that we've had, because, you know, Brock's aware when we've had several because he's helped us with them. The professionals are so good at this, Brock. They just, you know, they're worth their weight in gold. I mean, it's just so to have them. Do you recommend people, or do you have people that because you helped us with a recommendation on getting our kitchen remodeled and you know everybody, how do you filter through? You must have some people that you really trust.
I do. And here locally, I really like Two Men in a Truck, and one of our teammates owned 3 franchises. He sold the franchises. He's an agent on our team now. And but I mean, they're a really good outfit. Two Men in a Truck is, yeah,
super solid. All right, everybody. The reason I'm calling today's episode with Brock is, you know, it's always a reality of real estate episode when Brock's here. Brock sponsors the reality of real estate. He is the reality of real estate subject matter expert. Don't hire the junior varsity. And again, I don't want to be disparaging. I'm just being straight up. When you make changes like this, when you are now, and we, in the environment that we're in, it's all about focus. It's all about finding the pros. And if you want to cut corners, because as I was telling Brock pre-production, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are feeling threatened, that maybe aren't getting the business. And so maybe they're going to make some, you know, maybe I'm not speaking out of turn, Brock. I don't know, but that's why you're here. Just saying, when things get tight, right? And so what's your perspective on that? I don't mean to cast shade on anyone or anything. You know what I'm saying though. What do you feel?
Well, it's a it's a skill-based market now for an agent. You know, there's just not a lot of, there's no room for error. You're competing for everything. And the market is down 20% in terms of closed units here, and that's in Michigan. And so when the market constricts like that, now it's unusual because prices are still going up, and yet number of transactions is going down because there are less motivated sellers. And what that means is, if you're a buyer, your agent must be significantly more skilled to help you win in a multiple offer situation.
And that's all I'm referring to, everybody. So you wouldn't take the JV football team from Holt High School and have them go scrimmage against the Michigan State Spartans. I mean, it's just not happening. And I'm just saying that because I know Brock has been a professional for a long time. When you need to have the expert advice, you got to go with the people that have the reputation. And I really like that term, that skill-based market, and those people having in a skill-based market, you need to have skill sets. And so but again, one of the big things, and it's what we talk about with your read all the time, Brock, is the trust factor. I mean, if you can trust the education of the people that you're working with, it makes it a no-brainer in my world. I mean, that's all there is to it. So, you know, I'm grateful to you. We trust you, and that's why we're happy to help people understand what's going on out there. Okay, set this up. We got a minute and a half before we go to break. You sent over some really good points here. You want to set this up in our discussion and let people know where we're going to be going with this today, Brock, please? Yeah.
So there was a couple talking points I sent over this morning, and obviously the interest rate is the number one
thing.
Yep. Interest rates, right now, that's kind of setting the stage for everything, honestly. So to give a little bit of perspective, as of today, if you've got a good credit score, 750 or higher, and you're financing a home for a 30-year period of time, you're going to end up with like a 7% type interest rate. And if you go with a 15-year mortgage, you're going to be right around 6.5%. So that's really driving a lot of the hesitancy for sellers to sell right now. The rising interest rates, which is happening directly to try to counterbalance inflation rates, that's causing some collateral damage in the market right now.
All right, let's leave it there, because that's exactly what we got to talk about, because awareness is the key to everything we do here, and making and sharing education and information. Brock Fletcher's here from the selling team of Keller Williams, our guy, has been our guy, will be our guy. Mike Dedman, what's happening, Mikey? When we come back, we're going to talk about these points: interest rates driving it, selling for life changes, inventory, and homes priced. I also want to ask Brock about the changes in the payment, because interest rates make a big diff. You're listening to the Tom Hatch Show. Boom.
Sorry about that. I didn't initially have that list up in front of me. I had to scramble to get that. I apologize.
We knew we were going to go to interest rates anyways. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. See, the way you've done this so many times now, it's just like we just roll, and we just don't let people know that, hey, if I don't have my notes in front of me, like I didn't have your bio in front of me, and I don't really need it. I mean, it's just, just go with it. It's kind of gets a little bit redundant when we have you on for 20 times. I mean, it's like, been doing this for a while. So, all right, here we go. Let me get my read ready for that dude named Craig.
Craig.
He laughs when I say that. I mean, he just giggles his little ass off. Here we go. Where's my mouse at? Oh, there we go. The segment of the Tom Hatch Show is sponsored by the one. There's two guys. There's two people. There's two companies. This guy, Craig, and then the guy that is our guest today, Brock. Okay, those two are our key people for this radio program / podcast / whatever the heck else it is. Your Ameriprise financial advisor and our Ameriprise financial advisor is, again, Craig Stiles, and he can help you plan for the life you want and well into the future, like we did. Full disclosure, all of our ReFirement Zone savings are with Craig, and I'm glad, because I told him the last time, he was just here recently. As I told him last time, Craig, no offense, but I just opened my first statement from you, and it's been a year. It's just because I trust him. It's like with Brock, I trust him. I don't need to worry about this kind of stuff. When I've got questions, like with my dad's property that I'm dealing with right now, who did I call? I call Brock. If you got issues, you call Brock. If you got financial issues, you call Craig. All right. You need the right financial advisor. Life can be brilliant. Be as in 1-800-528-1355. His local number, 517-483-4893. Craig.stiles@ampf.com is his email. Easiest way to find both of these sponsors and great friends and just family members of our show is our website, tomhatchshow.com. At the bottom of the homepage, just go there and click right through to their banners, and boom, you're there. Okay. Call Craig. Please do. His office located 2400 Lake Lansing Road, Suite B as in Bism or Brilliant, Lansing, Michigan, 48912. Nice thing about Ameriprise, the nice thing about Keller Williams, they're nationwide companies. If you need a point person, you're getting out of state, go to these guys. They'll help you out. Their teams are both absolutely spot on, and they're pros. I mean, skill-based market, as Brock was just telling us about that. We'll get back to the conversation here in just a second. Radio stations carrying us, have carried us, will carry us. Michigan Talk Network, of course, is always carrying us on the syndication, but WGHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven, Michigan was the first to carry us on broadcast radio. Will, team, and Wendy Hart, love you guys. You're the bomb. If you haven't been to Grand Haven, get over to Grand Haven. you need to go to Grand Haven. Take the kids to Grand Haven. The beach is awesome. The city is awesome. The place is awesome. It's like stepping back in time. If you want to go to a resort community and year round, it's an amazing place. Grand Haven is so sweet. It's awesome. WJM 1240 AM Lansing, flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. WJRW 1340 AM Grand Rapids carried us for a long time. WKLQ 1490 AM, same thing. WYPV FM 94.5 Mackinac City on the Michigan Talk Network, and our PBS affiliate at Michigan State University, carrying us on Sundays at 5 in the afternoon every weekend. AM 870 News Talk, WKAR FM 102.3. Again, thanking Craig Stiles for creating Desideri Analytics, where we are making light of weighted decisions, and Michigan Talk Network. The owners are the best, Steve and Ivy Gruber. All right, back to our programming. Today, Brock's here. Don't hire the junior varsity when it comes to your purchases with real estate. I wanted to just revisit real quick off of our notes that are not on our notes, I should say. But Brock did help me with my dad's passing in July of 2023. I'm executor of his estate. And so it was a complete cluster. I mean, a complete cluster, but I had questions. And Brock, I want to tell you, I really appreciated you not only calling me back. That was a very, very vulnerable time for me. And when people are in a vulnerable space, they need to find people that can really help them. I want to thank you for doing that. I appreciate that very, very much.
You're very welcome.
You know, that's the thing, everybody. If you get in a spot when it comes to the real estate, demise of our parents, whatever, these things happen, you got to know these people. You got to get to know them, reach out to them. Well, I'll give you the numbers here in the next break when we come back. But, you know, Brock is our guy. He's our guy. All right. So I kind of left off on a question, Brock, with Sandy and I had been discussing this, and it's like, well, okay, so say you have, you're at 7% with your interest rates now, but say just ballparking, what are you thinking on to make a round number, say 500,000, or even just say $100,000 mortgage?
Sure.
If you have a 7%, when you go from 3 to 7, what are people expecting? What do you think is going to be the difference in their payment for that? I know it depends on their down and all that, but give some people some advice on that, because that kind of fits into where we're at with these new interest rates and this new kind of metrics that we're at.
Yeah. I mean, so the math is pretty simple. So let's say you financed $100,000 for 30 years. Most people get a 30-year interest, or 30-year mortgage. If you financed $100,000 at 3% interest for 30 years, your monthly payment, principal and interest, would be $421.60. If you were to then, and many people got interest rates that were in the 3% range just a mere year and a half, 2 years ago. Interest rates are at 7% now. That same $100,000, if you're going to borrow it, would cost you $665 a month. So the change in payment is nearly $250 a month. And we're talking about $100,000 sales price. The average sales price for the mid-Michigan area is now right around $250,000. So the reality is the numbers are more significant than that. If you're let me give you those numbers at 250,000. So your monthly payment at 3% would be $1,054. If you were at 7%, your monthly payment would be $1,663. So it's nearly a $600 difference per month. So it's, they're significant numbers. That's changed the game quite a bit.
It has changed the game quite a bit. And that's why I wanted to call this Don't Hire the Junior Varsity, because you need options, and you need to, because already we got stress, right, Brock? I mean, it's just obviously financial issues like this bring stress. So what can people do to mitigate this? What are a couple of things? We got a minute to go before we go to break, set that up, and just to just give some quick tips on that, and we'll come back and finish the thread.
Yeah. So, and this will be very quick. So you can't change interest rates. They are what they are. But you can operate with the understanding that rates will probably come down in the next couple of years. I'm not going to say they're going to come back down to 3% or 2.5%, but as soon as we have inflation below 3% or at 3%, we should start to see interest rates start to come down a little bit. And so don't be afraid of making that home purchase right now. If it's the right time for your family, buy it, lock in at that 7% interest rate. In about 2 years or less, I think you'll have an opportunity to refinance probably into something that's more like 5%. So I don't know that we can count on rates going much lower than that, but I'm certainly seeing predictions that interest rates will come back down.
Well, and here's
once we get inflation handled.
I'll leave you with this, everybody, because we're going to come up to break here. Brock Fletcher's with us. We're calling this one "Don't Hire the Junior Varsity." But when Sandy and I bought and we built Big House Holt, we locked in at 7.5. And when we come back, I'll tell you the back end of that story, because that was in 2000, 2001, 2002 area. And so, yeah, we went through that, and we were frankly, we were thrilled to get 7.5 because
Sure.
it was higher. You're listening to the Tom Matt Show. My guest today, Brock Fletcher. Don't hire the JV. Reality of real estate. That's absolutely a fact. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, so I'm going to come right back to that. I just want to do this quick read. Here we go, baby. We're cruising now. I'm not shocked at those numbers. I am a little bit. I mean, I have to say that $600 difference in a payment.
Yeah, it's significant.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. The simplest way to connect with us is through the website, tommattshow.com. All of our social media is there. Our YouTube channels are doing fantastic. The Tom Matt Show YouTube channel has become the predominant go-to spot. The RFZ is still up, but we're putting mostly all of our content on the Tom Matt Show because it's just made it easier for people to find us, and it's growing. I mean, we've added 500 new subscribers in the last month. And so that's pretty good. And since we're really new at this, but it's the website, tommattshow.com, where everything comes together. You can find our sponsors, you can find our friends, you can find so many things that might be able to help you in all of the different categories. Whatever social media is your flavor, hit us. We will respond to any messages and any messaging that comes through. Be aware, sometimes I miss some of these little instant messages on Instagram and stuff like that, but no offense. But if you go to the website and just go to the contact box, if you really need to get a hold of us, go to the website, the contact box. If you need me to get a hold of Brock for you, I got a hot one, I got to go, you know, your houses, you want to put your house up for sale, you want to get some advice before you that's another thing with Brock. If you need some advice prior to making these decisions, that's the time to get a hold of me so I can get a hold of Brock. I'll forward this right over for you. So please use that tool. Please, because our mission is all about community collaboration and cooperation. That's it. The 3 C's, sharing stories and ideas. All right, Brock. So I left the thread from the last segment on when we locked in our 7.5%, when we built the house, Big House Holt. And that was back in 2001, 2002 timeframe. That was pretty normal. And it was when we were very, very happy to get that interest rate. So what wound up happening is exactly what Brock was just sharing with us, that in the next few years, that peaked and it came down. So what we did is we did exactly what Brock said. We refinanced, we pulled money out, we reinvested some of the equity that we had back into the house and put in what turned out to be about a $50,000 addition to the house with our built-in pool and all the fencing and all the stuff that goes along with it, so that it worked out. So what Brock, what you were just saying is exactly what happened to us, 20 plus years ago. So been there, done that. I mean, how many times you've been in this business a long time? You've seen this happen. That's why that's why you're the varsity. You're not the JV. All right, let's continue with that kind of thing. I mean, that I told you during break, man, that $600 extra payment, that's a gut check.
Yeah, it is. And I understand why that has caught people kind of off guard or has caused them to want to pause and have concern and worry. But you know, when you have data, when you have facts, that's how you combat fear. So,
That's right. That's
yep.
right. Okay. So going on to bullet number 2 that you sent over. Great points, by the way. Sellers are only selling if they have a life-changing experience right now, which makes sense because of the volatile market that we're in. But they still happen, just like I mentioned earlier, everybody, with my dad's situation. So
Yep.
let's talk about this, Brock. How do people, sometimes you just get caught completely off guard with all this. That's happened with my dad. And
Yep.
so why did you bring that point? Because
Well,
family status change and all of these changes, they occur all the time, don't they?
they do, and you don't always get to pick, you know, the time that you are going to need to have a real estate transaction. I mean, life happens and I mean, so like, unfortunately, people get divorced. People pass away. Those circumstances cause real estate transactions to happen. Um, you get a new job, you lose a job, you get a new opportunity, you move across country, you outgrow your home, or you need less space, or you're at a point in your life where you need to sell your last home and move to a assisted living facility. I mean, these are all life-changing experiences that cause the market to move. The reality is most people don't just decide that, oh, my home is worth more money than I thought it was, let me sell and move. That's not the main motivating factor, right? Life-changing experiences are the main motivating factors of moving. Now, we went through a period of time over the last 3 or 4 years where values were increasing so rapidly that some people said, you know what, let me take this opportunity to cash out and upgrade or whatever. But now we're in a point where so many people have mortgages that are between 2 and 4%, and you have to have a really good reason to move if your interest rate is at that level, right? Because yes, you're going to sell at the highest that real estate's ever been worth, but then you're going to buy and you're going to have a much higher interest rate, right? So you have to have some legitimate motivation, or you have to be in a financial position where the money is inconsequential. You can just afford to do it, and so you do.
Do you ever have people just there, they have the foresight just to have these, kind of have you in their bullpen in life, knowing you saying, hey, I'm not anticipating this, but I tell you what, everybody, I was really glad that Brock and I were friends when my
Sure.
dad. And so it wouldn't probably be a bad idea to make Brock's acquaintance and get in his database and just get to know him. He's a good guy. And so it's just like that might not be a bad thought, right, Brock?
Absolutely. I mean, I have she's one of my favorite clients in the whole world. Um, I have been in relationship with her for the entire 19 years of my career, and we only just did our first real estate transaction together 2 years ago. All of the rest of the communication, she owns a lot of farmland, and every year I would give her an updated analysis on her farm properties to let her know what they were worth. And we didn't do any business together from a traditional sense for all those years. And I mean, I'm just a trusted confidant, and we're friends, and of course I help her professionally. But I mean, that relationship is there and intact. And I think it's important whenever you're going to do real estate business to have clarity and to have trust and to feel like this is part of a plan, right? Real estate should never feel like it's not planned, right? You're making huge financial decisions, and I'm always surprised when I see people moving haphazardly, right? Or doing things that are not well thought out. I would never dream of making a real estate move that I hadn't played out in my mind, many times over.
That's the thing. I mean, and exactly. Brock Fletcher's our guest today, everybody. Reality of Real Estate, 17th visit with us. This is why it's so important, and it's one of our 12 topic categories on our radio program podcast. I always knew the reality of real estate because of our experiences, Sandy and I, being a blended family for over 20 plus years now, and going through the building and all of that financial stuff. It is when you think you have, and I heard Dave Ramsey say this, Brock, when you think you have your forever home, you think again, because
yeah,
you're probably going to have 2 or 3 of them, right? I
well,
mean,
forever might be for 15 years. I mean, that's a long time to live someplace,
right.
but most people don't have the luxury of staying in the same home their whole life. It just doesn't meet all of their needs the whole time.
That's right. And that's the whole thing. Life changes, and the empty nest syndrome will kick in if you have children. And maybe you keep it, maybe you don't. But like with us, we had no idea that our children were going to relocate to Wisconsin. And so I'm just grateful. Sandy and I are grateful that we're within driving distance to go spend time with our family as we record this today. And Brock, I'm going to carry this through. We're going to come up on break. But I'm just very grateful that I don't know what's been 4 or 5 years now, that it was pre-COVID that we found the place in Wisconsin so that we have a place to go to. And that's where I'm recording this episode right now, is at our studio in Kimberly, Wisconsin. Again, resetting this thing, getting ready to go to break here. You're listening to the Tom Matt Show. It's a reality of real estate. Don't hire the junior varsity. No offense, anybody. I don't want to get any hate mail or anything like that, but it's true. You got to get the pros, develop the relationships, develop the friendships, get to know these people, just like having somebody on your team. If you got a team, if you got a deep bench on your team in your life, you're going to be successful. It's the Tom Matt Show. Brock.
How's the weather in Wisconsin?
Cloudy today. It's about 70. It's supposed to start heating up. It feels kind of humid though. I got everything closed up because I didn't want any noise, but it's always, I mean, this year has been really, really dry over here, really dry. And so we just missed that big storm in Lansing. I mean, our house was out of power for like 3 days. And so
Wow.
kept checking our alarm system, and, all the cameras were off and everything was just down, but we got better alarms than with live people watching our house for us. So yeah, we missed that whole, sound like that was a whopper. I mean,
yeah, it was.
All right, here we go. Let me get your stuff. It's so easy for me to do these reads with my friends and our sponsors. I don't even think of our sponsors as sponsors. They are sponsors, and we're very, very grateful, because without our sponsors, we can't put this radio program on. It's just it's not economically feasible. But we want to help share their messaging. Brock is our sponsor for segment 4 of the show, with experience and effective agent who knows the greater Lansing, mid-Michigan, the whole country, through Keller Williams, through his network of people. That's Brock Fletcher. Brock. He's the man. He's this guy. The thing that, and I talked about this earlier with Brock, it's the trust factor. That's why, and again, full disclosure, like I said with Craig, all of our real estate transactions in the mid-Michigan area for us, and there's been a few, Brock, Mike Dedman, the whole crew over there, done speaking engagements for Brock, doing those things, just doing whatever we can to make each other better. And that's what Brock's all about. Couple of numbers coming at you here, everybody. First one's the office number, 517-853-6408. The super secret, which isn't so super secret anymore, that radio in his pocket, his cell phone, 517-303-3262, 517-303-3262, or go to kwsellingteam.com, kwsellingteam.com. Tell Brock, text Brock. Brock is the one guy, I've told him this a lot of times. Brock's the one guy who changes his voicemail greeting every day, such a pro, because being a telecom guy, I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's so great. You should do that. I wish more people did that kind of stuff. Seriously, he'll tell you, you leave a message, you'll know when he'll get back to you. He follows through. He's got this great it's a really good habit. If you're a pro, it's a really good habit to have. Brock does that. You know when he'll get back to you. Most agents start marketing after they get the listing. Nah, not happening. Not with the varsity. Maybe with the JV, and those are the people we're trying to tell you not to go to, because the JV, they're still learning the ropes. I want a pro coach. When you want to get into your real estate, you want to sell, you got life changes, you got things coming up, you got inventory, which we're going to talk about here, the low inventory, high rates. You got to go with people you trust. Again, Brock Fletcher, 517-303-3262, kwsellingteam.com. All right, Brock, jumping into the inventory situation. This always blows my mind when we talk about this stuff, because it's like, how low can it go? I mean, it's like, dang, man, we've been talking about this for like several years now, and it seems like it just continues. What's the situation?
Yeah, we're about 580 active and available properties for sale in the greater Lansing area, which, if we were to go back last year at this time, you would see that we have about 200 fewer homes now than what we had at that time. And, going back to when I came into the business 19 years ago, we would have 5,500 to 6,000 active and available properties all the time. So, I mean, fundamentally what's happened here is, you go back to that decade of non-home building, after the economic collapse in 2008, just millions of homes, millions of homes did not get built in the US over that period of time. And now we're in a position where, Tom, if you wanted to build a home right now and you went out and got a quote from any reputable builder, what you would find is it costs about $300 per square foot to build a new home. So, if you do the math, 2,000 square foot times $300 a square foot, that's 600,000. So it's not affordable for most people to own a new home.
Let me ask you, hold that
ahead.
thought, Brock. But just to put some perspective to this whole thing, what you just said, because that's a huge point, everybody. I want to hammer this one home. Where were we before on the square foot construction costs, roughly? If you're at 300 per square foot, 600,000 square, a 2,000 square foot home, 600 grand. Where were we before? Was it 100 square foot or 100? What was it?
Pre-COVID, we were about $150 a square foot.
Okay, so we've
doubled. Yep.
God. So
double
that's
the
what.
build.
So when people think about, oh my gosh, interest rates, but they lose sight of, or are not aware of, that, that's from $150 a square foot to 300. That's significant. And so that's got to be baked into all of the equations.
Yeah. And that's why we're not going to ever solve this inventory problem, because there's no way to build enough homes, because there aren't enough buyers to buy the new homes, right? They can't afford to spend $500,000-$600,000, right? That's not an entry level price point. So, we're going to be stuck in this inventory shortage for many, many years. And subsequently, for those people thinking that values have any chance to go down, it's not going to happen, right? I mean, values can't come down in an environment where we have low inventory. So regardless of what interest rates are doing, it won't cause values to come down, right? Which is why, like in California, people get interest-only loans, that's not even a thing in Michigan, by the way. Like, people don't get interest-only loans, but like my business coach, who is from California, he's never had a mortgage that wasn't interest-only, right? That's what people do in areas where home values are so crazy that you can't get them. It's unaffordable to get a mortgage on the principal, so they get interest-only loans there, and they just rely on the appreciation of the home to not lose money.
Oh, I see. That's okay. So the back end of it, because it's to me, it seems, well, you're just renting. You're just changing landlords. You're renting from the bank rather than renting from a homeowner.
Yeah, but
again, you get the equity. So that's a gamble.
It is a gamble, and that's, of course, that's California, not Michigan, right? So different environment, different norms. But, you know, for people that talk about, oh, values are going to come down or should come down or will come down, none of that is true. You know, when you hear people talk like that, they're just hoping that values will come down because they have regret that they didn't buy a home when it was less expensive, but none of that is grounded in fact, right? And so, you know, you just have to accept the reality that with real estate, it was the real estate market was built so that it goes up by 4% per year. So I always encourage our clients, if your life situation is right to make a purchase, do it now, because on average values go up 4% per year. And by waiting, you're simply waiting to pay more money.
That's it.
Right.
Bottom line. It's an economics. I wrote down the economics of real estate and the facts, the science behind all of this. You know, something else that I read in the Wall Street Journal recently too, Brock, another cost, now we've talked about finance costs, we've talked about construction costs, but also the insurance industry is in a distressed state. And so the Wall Street Journal, it was right on the cover of the Wall Street Journal just last week, everybody. And they're talking about, this is a big problem because if your insurance costs keep going up now, right? Because now you're adding another layer of costs on top of this payment. So we've gone from that 3%, which was about $1,000, everybody, for a $250,000 loan, to 7%, which is $1,663, as Brock said. And then you have the additional insurance cost that goes on top of that. So you got a lot of factors that you need to really figure out. Again, don't go with the JV, everybody. All right, Brock, please set up the final segment, because that's big and we're talking big numbers here. Can you set that up for our final segment, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in the greater Lansing area, elite level price point would be 500,000 and higher. And so because of the interest rate changes, of course, the higher priced homes are the ones where it's going to have the greatest effect on the payment. And so we are definitely seeing it take longer to sell homes that are priced at $500,000 or higher. So how that shows up, it shows up in terms of how many days does it take to be successful to sell a home in this price point. So the market is super fluid between 100 and like 300,000, meaning if you put a home on the market and it's priced effectively or priced accurately, it's going to sell within 5 or 6 days. If you put your home on the market and you're, let's say, priced at the $500,000 mark, it might take 30 days or 40 days to be successful. And if you're not priced correctly, it could take longer, right? So it's just a different price point, different days on market.
All right, that's a good jumping off point here. Brock Fletcher's with us, Reality of Real Estate. Don't hire the junior varsity. When it comes to real estate, go with the pros. You can go with Division I. I'd rather have, well, we hope the Detroit Lions, but you got to think that way. You got to hire the pros, because the pros have the reps. Guy's got almost 20 years in this business. He knows, he's seen this stuff, lived this stuff. You're listening to the Tom Mann Show. See, this is why we do this radio program, because it's all about learning, and it's all about, and I'm talking to the camera and I'm talking to Brock, I'm talking to myself here, but it's all about learning and how people can we got to take care of each other. It's not dog eat dog out there, everybody. We got to help each other, because if we don't, the world falls apart. And so that's part of the problem with what we've got going on in the world. We're going to make it better. That's all there is to it, period. And get off my soapbox for a second here, but I don't mind being on that soapbox. All right. Got your stuff ready there, partner, for you to plug?
Yeah,
anything
you bet.
Anything you want to plug? And I don't know if you saw my little, I put a little post up on your event. Man, I would have loved to be at that putt tournament the other day. God dang it. You know,
it was fun. Trey Mosley came out and signed some footballs and took pictures. It was really fun.
Nice. Here we go. You got your stuff there, bud?
I do.
Okay, cool. All right, fifth segment of the Tom Matt Show. Let's get down to business here. Brock, how do you want people to connect with you? I've given all of your, in the previous segment, all of that contact info. You're on our website. You have your website, kwsellingteam.com. We've got your phone number, the cell phone number, but go ahead. You share all that information and then tell everybody about things that are coming up. I was just telling Brock during break, everybody, how I was so bummed out that we missed, because he does all these super cool events for his people and his customers, and it's a customer appreciation thing. And it was a putt thing over at a really nice golf course in the mid-Michigan area. And I mean, I've done it. It's fun. So that's how Brock rolls. When he puts money into his marketing, it's really well thought out, well spent, well invested, right? So anyways, how do people get on the bandwagon, man? How do they join the KW Selling Team rock and roll show?
Sure. Well, I mean, the easiest way to get a hold of me is always going to be my cell phone, which I'm happy to have you call and reach out to. Tom gave it, but it's 517-303-3262, 517-303-3262. That's always the best way to reach me. But in terms of if you want to join our family, and that's always been our motto, beyond real estate, real family. And we do a lot of fun events every year. If you go to our KW Selling Team Facebook page, or if you like us on Instagram, or if you just Google search Brock Fletcher and contact me that way. So I think that might be the easiest, because everybody uses Google. Just type in Brock Fletcher. It's going to come right up. You're going to see 414 5-star reviews. Get in touch with us. Join our mailing list. That's going to get you invitations to all of our great client appreciation events. And, am I a real estate expert? Yeah, but more than that, I'm a person that loves relationships and loves having fun events for our clients that are equally as fun for me. And so we give away prizes that I like. We do events I like. I love movies, so we do a movie event. I like putt-putt. We did something fun this last year because we were having so many people that we were having people getting held up on the course because we had so many people joining us. So we bought a prize wheel and a Plinko board, and we gave away a bunch of cool prizes. And Trey Mosley was out for Michigan State football and signed autographs, gave away some autographed footballs and stuff. So every year we ramp it up a little bit more. We have better prizes, I'm a fun loving person, and I like to spoil people and create experiences for them that they couldn't necessarily create for themselves.
Well, it's a unique opportunity because you get to really, again, the relationship, and in anything that you do in your life, everybody, it's all about the relationships. That's what makes our programming so vitally important to me and Sandy and our guests and our listeners. It's because we want that strong relationship, and that's why we continue. We'll be starting our 13th season here very soon. And so it's again, a blessing to have all of these relationships across the board. So this last point that we're talking about that you set up there, partner, the big number purchases of homes, they're staying on the market a little longer. So to me, that would seem like, okay, if that's the case, which it is, then you need to be proactive, right? You need to be not only having that relationship with you, but as you told me with Big House Holt, the window is here. How much advance notice? Well, you mentioned a client that you had that you have known for 19 years or 17 years or something like that. And it was 17 years that you never did a transaction, and then you did finally last 2 years. How much lead time would you advise people if they're even thinking about it? What's your professional advice on that there, Brock?
I like to know that they're thinking on moving for at least a month if I can. There's typically things that we want to get done with the property to make it show its best. I mean, I can rush it in a week. I mean, if somebody called me today and they were ready to go, we could have their home on the market by next week. But what I really prefer to do is have a great consultation, go through the data, give them advice on what to do, have a very methodical, well thought out plan so that we can cover all the variables and really create a really great, delightful experience that results in a 5-star, experience. I prefer to have them to know that they want to move for about a month at least, but look, I can work on anybody's timeline. But generally speaking, the more lead time, the better.
All right. So if you go back a few episodes, everybody, all those things that Brock was just discussing and sharing with you, we have entire episodes. That's why having him on like 17 times on the radio program over the last 5 years is really important, because you can go back and you can sift through these episodes at the Reality Real Estate on our website, TomMattShow.com. But we talked about this. We talked about upsize and downsize, but one of the episodes we did, Brock, was best practices. And with these homes at $500,000 and higher, a month lead time seems really fast. I mean, to me, I don't think I could deal with something. I was thinking more like a year, but that's me. And so everybody's going to be a little bit different, right?
Sometimes you'll have people that are a year out. I like that. I like knowing further out. Some people are a little more spontaneous or fly by the seat of their pants, if you will.
Well,
we all
back
have
to the
those
life
friends.
events thing. You talked about the life events thing. You can't plan some of those things. I mean, some of those things are, when I'm coaching people, and I've coached people all the time. I have a client down in Alabama I'm working with right now. She's going through a lot of personal issues, and the living situation is a massive part of our personal lives. And so you have to have your coaching, you have to have your people. And it's the thing about the relationships, man. I want to go back to the relationships again and kind of rehash these 4 topics that we had here, because at this price point, just be aware, everybody, you can pull it off. What should people know, though, finishing the last point of our bullets, Brock? What are some of the trap doors that people might be unaware of with a big number? Are there certain things that people go, oh, I didn't realize that? Are there things like that?
Well, I mean, so it's harder to sell at the more expensive numbers because there's smaller buyer pool. And I think it's more important that your agent be, very skill-based, very professional, right? You got to have the right pictures, the right videos, the right marketing, the right exposure to the right, the largest exposure and the right marketing, and everything's got to be on point, right? I mean, the attention to details got to be a little bit better. If something is harder, then your skills and your tools must be better and sharper. And it always surprises me with real estate. If I had to have a heart transplant, man, I want the best heart surgeon ever, period. Right. I'm not going to take the guy that just got out of medical school yesterday. I'm sorry. He can watch. I don't want him touching me, right? He or she touching me. I don't want them touching me. I want the best to touch me. Real estate's one of those funny industries where people are like, yeah, I'll take my chance with the person who just got their license. And it's like, not me. Because especially if you're talking about maybe your most valuable asset, right? I mean, I want the best, right? I don't want somebody who just entered the business, and I don't want somebody who's just been hanging around for 15 years but only does 5 deals a year. No, I want somebody that knows how to perform at an elite type level. And it just surprises me in real estate that people will accept anything less because they're paying the same amount regardless, right? Working with the best essentially costs the same exact amount of money as working with the worst.
So
guess what? I choose the best every time for myself.
In your analogy of the open heart surgery, heart transplant, I guarantee you that skilled surgeon is costing you a lot more than the rookie that just stepped off the JV. Right. So keep that in mind. All right, we're going to wrap come to the end of the show here, Brock. I want to get your takeaway from today's episode. Don't hire the junior varsity. You had some really good points. What would you like to leave the listeners with on your close for your 17th visit, my man?
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to go back to real estate is a skill-based business. And I want you to what I want you to think about is be thoughtful in whatever your plans are. Don't be scared of the market. Make sure you're getting the right advice. Make sure your decisions are well thought out, grounded in fact, and make sure that you have the right professional next to you where you feel confident in your decision making.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, if you got the right professional, if you really feel confident in the team that you've put together, then you should have an outstanding experience. And that's what Brock aims for. Brock, please share your contact information one more time, and then we'll jump out of here.
Cell number 517-303-3262. No question is too insignificant to ask me. I'm here as a resource for you. And if you're listening to the show, that means you're a friend of Tom's, which means you're a friend of mine.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. It's going to be a go green kind of fall here. If our show fits your business or group's mission, everybody, you know what we want to do. We want to be of service to you. That's what we do. Brock Fletcher is a supporter of our programming, and we love him so much. Brock, I appreciate you more than I can ever say. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting ride here coming up. So thank you again. 517-303-3262. That's the cell phone number. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Close the show every episode with that. Thanks again to Brock. Thanks for being here, Brock. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you guys so much.
Andy, Craig, and then, of course, the legend, Mitch Anderson. Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to be your voice to the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Call Brock, 517-303-3262. We're out. Every time I have you on, it's like, you know, it's just, I don't know, just feels like it's the best show. They're all good. It's like, wow, that was awesome. It's like, we got this shit down, bro. I mean, if people can't, it's nice to have that body of work on that website and all that stuff there that they can go back and just peruse through. And in October, when we have our production meeting about all of the things that we've been doing the last year, we're going to have some conversations about, you know, what you think we want to do, because it's like, okay, how do we get the messaging out there now that we have all these other channels and continue to promote? Because, you know, it's all about the team. It's all about like, okay, well, how do we get better?
We'll have some fun. So, I've been working with, the athletic department at Michigan State, and we're getting ready to launch an internship program for the whole athletic department. All 700 plus student athletes are going to have an opportunity to do internships here with Keller Williams, many of them with our team, but more than even what I can accommodate. And I've met with Alan Haler's right-hand person, Ashton Henderson. And we had our second meeting with Ashton, and we've got KW Sports and Entertainment involved. And I've met with Angela Monty. I don't know if you know Angela or not.
Yep.
Met with her a couple of times, and met with the new Darian Harris has elevated in the athletic department.
Yep.
The new Darian is actually also a past client, which is pretty sweet. Kurt Richardson is his name. Brand new. I believe he did play here. But he's been working with NFL teams for many, many years.
Okay.
For like brand awareness, but I know that he went to Lansing Eastern is where he went many years ago. But we're getting ready to have some really exciting things with the university that will create a whole different kind of it gives us some other avenues to kind of take some of the shows and talk about the educational experience that we're providing for young people. So
we're getting more and more MSU, between our students with the Generation Us and the Journey into Higher Ed, with the students, as I mentioned, for like Anna Thomas, who was our guest prior to you. But I have like Bianca Guest coming on, Lorenzo's wife. She is the new assistant director at IM West. for group fitness, and her and I are buddies, and she's going to be coming on here next week. And so we're
That's
doing
awesome.
a lot. Yeah, it's just like, you know what, however we can support the university. And it's, I never know how much value is coming out of this, but like I said, with the Anna Thomas thing, that girl, for being a youngster, she crushed it. And she said some things about the university that, well, like I was talking to Bianca, I said, Bianca, and she works with students way more than I do, and I work with students a lot. I said, we don't have any idea from our perspective at our level of what they're going through. You got to talk to them to know what they need, because the world has changed, and all of our kids, they got completely hammered with COVID. And it's just like, we can't forget that fact that all of our kids from that age of like my grandkids all the way up to the 25-year-olds, they got screwed out of 2 years. At least. I mean, look at John. She had to do 2 years worth of online study through her degree. At least she got 2 years of normal, but that's still, and she still paid the same, right? So it's like, it's kind of, but in another way, it exposed them to some other skill sets. So
sure,
you take what you get and you just make lemonade, because to cry about getting lemons ain't gonna do diddly crap. So, hey, brother, I'll you got time here a little while to for me to call back, and I'll call you on my phone, because I got a couple things. I'll call you.
Give me 2 minutes to use your bathroom. I'll be right back.
Well, I got to do some production work first, so it'll be about an hour.
Perfect. I'll be ready.
Okay. All right, cool, man. See ya.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye. All right, so Brock Fletcher is a kingpin, and what he was saying to us, let me get my notes here. And again, I don't want to be disparaging about the other companies that are out there, but hiring the JV when it comes to real estate is absolutely a bad idea, because there's just too much stress. And now with the extra additional costs, I mean, we went from a $250,000 mortgage, 3%, $1,000 payment, to 7%, almost $1,700. That's significant. So that's why you need to really stay attention. And if you get a hold of Brock, drop my name, please. It helps everybody, because we all need to know where we're hearing about each other. Got any questions? Hit us up. Thank you for watching, listening, doing the thing, supporting our programming, going to YouTube, going to TikTok, going to Instagram, Facebook, however you're picking us up. Appreciate you all very much. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Next week. Peace out.